I remember very clearly. Shortly after I reestablished contact with my narcissistic mother, the amount and the detail and the depth of my confusion, my pain, my wonderment, I didn't know what was hitting me. All I knew that there were things that were happening around me that I could not explain. The only person I had to blame at that time was me. It had to be happening because of me. People in my family were moving away from me. The golden child brother was backing off communication, was being very sarcastic in all his remarks to me, was being flippant, cruel, mean, without any provocation to me. And I thought it was my fault. I would constantly search, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? How can I change it? How can I apologize? And I would come up with something, and I would apologize. If this offended you, I'm sorry. And I got the response of, well, okay. I couldn't see what was happening to me. I was suffering and I was in pain. And I had no idea why, except that it had to be my fault. You see, I was told, much like you, for most of my life, perhaps you during your entire marriage or your entire childhood, or even your childhood and adulthood, that I was the reason I was feeling like this, because I had done something wrong. And all along, it was being orchestrated. The strings were being pulled by a puppeteer, and I couldn't see it. It's not that I didn't have the intelligence to see it. It was being bombarded on me. It was that I couldn't believe that family members that I treated so well, that I loved unconditionally, could be capable of doing that. So it had to be me. After all, who would treat me like this after I gave them unconditional love, unconditional support, their family unconditional love? I was kind. Who could treat me like that? It had to be me. And I started sinking deeper and deeper and deeper into that pit, feeling like I was useless, I was bad, all of those things the narcissist told me. Her favorite saying, since a child, I was a sick little bastard. And I started to believe that again, as a 50-year-old adult. Because again, who would do such a thing? What person that I offered love to, empathy to, caring about, who would do that? I had no idea about narcissism. I couldn't see it for what it was. And I sunk deeper into that pit. It was a horrific time for me. I could not think straight. I've mentioned before I went days without sleeping at a time, all along feeling I was the cause. And that's the funny thing. That abuse puts you into such an unhealthy state of mind. You cannot see what's going on around you. Then you begin to see what's going around you and you cannot believe it. You cannot believe your own sense of reality. Then when you start to believe your own sense of reality, you become frightened. Because if you speak up for yourself, if you say, hey, this isn't right, or that's a lie, or how could you do this, that didn't happen, you have this fear that you're going to lose the people that supposedly love you. And that becomes your fault because you spoke up in protecting yourself. How did I get out of that? How was I able to see through that? A couple things. Time, a good therapist, and talking to you. Finding others who said, me too. When you're in these throes of narcissistic abuse, the chances are, perhaps right this very minute, you're not going to understand it and you're going to be blaming yourself. And that puts you into a deeper spiral, deeper spiral, deeper spiral. Pushes you down deeper where you cannot see it. That is the goal of the narcissist. That's exactly where they want you. All along, they're gaining their supply, watching people being triangulated away from you, watching your suffering. That is what they lead up to. That is what they build up to. But have the peace in this knowledge. And I swear this from the bottom of my heart. That time, that second by second and minute by minute will add up and you will see clearly what's really going on. Give yourself a break. I like to always try to say that. Give yourself a break. I couldn't do that. I could not give myself a break. I constantly felt it was my fault. I constantly felt I was bad. And what was most disturbing is that several people around me were saying, I love you. I was being told by my son, you're a good father. And I couldn't believe it. He was right. I just couldn't see it until I did. Give it the time. I said before in one of my latest videos, just please believe me that I believe you. Trust yourself going forward that you're going to get through this after time. I couldn't see anything while in the throes of narcissistic abuse. It's almost impossible. It's a dense fog. It does damage to your mental health that you, if you're in the middle of it now, you cannot see. But I'm here on the outside saying to you, it's going to get better. You can't see it, but it's going to happen. Have the peace in that knowledge. If I could somehow pull it out of me and show you the terror that was within me, I never, ever want to go to that dark space again. And as far as I'm concerned, I never will. It gets better. Put a second together at a time and watch what happens. Thank you.